Go Big Red.
No. Boiler up, toot toot.
Boiler up, toot toot.
Boiler up, toot toot.
Boiler up, toot toot.
But who do you like more?
What?
Boiler up or Go Big Red?
Go Big Red.
No.
Yeah, I like
That's
Go
my
Big
girl.
Red.
Boiler down, poop, poop.
45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. He's gonna go. Holy cow.
Big Red Junkies.
Game by day. Game by day. He gets better and better. He gets better and better. Team is getting me. Oh, man, woman, and child. He just turned this stadium inside out.
We are doing a new segment. It's similar to the cap, no cap that all the kids are talking about these days. We were talking about whether or not something was a pipe dream earlier. And so, to go ahead and start it out, we've got this nice theme song that Jed found for us. It's about pipe, I guess. Some of you might know it. I'm not sure. So, Jed, this weekend, Nebraska faces off against the vaunted Purdue Boilermakers. Mm-hmm. New coach. Is it a pipe or no pipe situation? Pipe dream or no pipe? Nebraska wins big.
That's a pipe dream.
Pipe dream.
Absolutely, that's pipe.
Why?
Total. Because we don't score enough points to win big.
Fair enough.
I mean,
Fair enough.
prove it.
Fair enough.
If Matt was sitting here, he'd say that exact same thing. He'd throw his head back and he'd go, prove it.
Prove it.
No, definitely pipe.
Pipe or no pipe? Heinrich Harburg throws a touchdown this weekend.
Well, that'd be no pipe. I'm not counting on it because the weather is going to be shitty, but that's not a pipe dream, no.
Fair enough. Pipe or no pipe, we make it through the entire Husker broadcast this weekend without hearing any reference to Michigan and their videotaping or their sign stealing.
Are you talking the radio broadcast or the TV broadcast?
Either one.
Well, I would say no pipe because I want as many references as possible because I just laugh hysterically at the complete implosion of the 3 brain cells that Michigan fans still have left.
So you're saying it's a pipe dream that we would make it through without hearing about it?
No, I want to hear as many references as possible. Like, God, they just lose their fucking shit.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's glorious.
Last one. Pipe or no pipe? Nebraska scores more than 30 points this week.
Oh, God. Lay that pipe as hard as you possibly can. That is, come on, man. Like, I don't even need to say
He says, come on, man. That's all he gives me.
Yeah, no.
Well, this segment will be cleaned up a lot more as we get going along, but thought it'd be a fun little thing to add in. Jumping into the Purdue preview here, man. Do you want to start with offense or defense?
I got more on offense than I do on defense, but
I don't feel like their defense is that good.
Their defense is building. I'll phrase it that way.
Well, he's a defensive coach.
That's what I'm saying. He's got really good secondary, which plays a factor considering how he was, how good his secondary was at Illinois the last couple of years. They've got one guy. Both their safeties are leading the team in tackles. One of them, I believe, is a true freshman. He's just dominating. And according to some recruiting stuff that I listened to a Purdue podcast today, they were saying how they've got some really good defensive back recruits that are.
I heard they were also saying some funny shit about Nebraska.
As far as, they did a really good job of breaking down Purdue. They did a horrible job by breaking down Nebraska because they called Harburg more of a pocket passer.
That's what you were telling me.
And I was like, have you watched a game? Like, even for 37 seconds?
If he was just a pocket passer, he'd have to go down as the worst quarterback in the history of history.
Wow. Yeah,
But anyway, they were excited about some linebackers they have coming in.
No, defensive backs.
Defensive backs.
So, like I said, they're building a secondary. They've got a good secondary, and at least a decent one right now. But they're a younger team that is also has a young coaching staff that they're like I said. I think the best way to phrase it is they could be building something.
They didn't have a crap ton left over when Braum left.
No, a lot of them left. Some of them left with him, but a lot left.
The pieces he wanted, I think, went with him for sure.
Yeah,
but they're also playing a different style of ball than what he was playing. Yeah. So
it's a transition for them. I guess that was more also one of the words that I was looking for just the whole team in general. It's good transition, and I think what they're doing is pretty good. I mean, they haven't looked terrible this year. They just haven't come out on wins. I mean,
no, I don't think they've looked terrible.
Yeah,
but what you put away that Illinois game, I kind of just did the key plays through their first 5. You put away the Illinois win, they really didn't look good in any of them.
No,
they looked serviceable. They looked like a lower end Big Ten team. It wasn't like they were, bottom barrel Power 5 like Colorado was last year.
They look like a team with a first year head coach.
They do,
and not just a first year head coach, a first time head coach. That's what the team that they look like.
The thing that I struggle with talking about, giving them the pass because it's a first year head coach. We also have a first year head coach,
but we have an experienced head coach.
True.
That's why I'm saying it's not just a first year head coach at Purdue.
He's figuring stuff out along the way.
This is the first time he's ever been a head coach. He's also a younger guy in general. So, I mean, I'd give him a pass because it's also Purdue, and I'm not trying to be like the whole high and mighty Nebraska fan or anything like that, but previous to Braum, Purdue has been Purdue, and that hasn't been very good.
Purdue was still Purdue when Braum was there, too.
A couple of
times.
He was
better than they should have been
exactly.
for a few years.
I mean, he took them to and they got a little help, but still, they made it to the Big Ten championship game last year, so you can't take that away from them.
I mean, beat Ohio State a couple times.
So
crushed Ohio State's playoff chances in 1 year.
So it's kind of I've always been high on Ryan Walters, even when he got hired at Illinois. So
you started talking about him then. You're this guy's not going to be there long.
I think that he could do some stuff at Purdue, however long he stays. I don't know. He clearly still hates Nebraska from his days at Colorado, which honestly I liked. I liked it. I know
I liked it too, but it was like in a normal way.
Exactly.
This wasn't like a Deion Sanders. Oh, it's personal. Now.
It wasn't an ego trip.
He wasn't calling out anybody.
No.
He wasn't anything. He's like, yeah, I grew up hating Nebraska. I still hate Nebraska. I hate the N. I hate the color. I hate it all.
I grew up hating Nebraska. I played at Colorado. I played against Nebraska.
I didn't know he played at Colorado. I missed that part.
Yeah. Yeah, he played against us, I think, twice. So, yeah, no, it's understandable. It's not a fake hatred.
Yeah.
It's not a made
It's a rivalry hatred.
Yes.
It's not some stupid personal bullshit.
So, I watched that video of him at his press conference saying how he hates the color red and he hates that block N on the helmet. And I was like, you know what? I like it because that's like you said, that's rivalry talk.
It's
and that's
normal rivalry talk.
Yes.
Give us a couple bulletin pieces. It doesn't have to be some drawn out media spectacle every time.
Exactly.
So on the defense, is there anybody that you think we should be looking out for?
Like I said,
they have a top unit.
The two safeties at Thieneman and Kane, they come down and hit people hard. Thieneman specifically is a hard hitter.
So back-to-back weeks, we're going to be looking at hard-hitting defense, just like Northwestern.
Quite possibly, yeah. I mean, it's and we've seen the Ryan Walters defense at Illinois, and granted, there may or may not be better. Well, actually, obviously, there was better talent in the secondary at Illinois than Purdue currently has. But as far as the whole team in general, it's an attacking defense. Rule talked about it. They're going to come after you. So how talented they are, and then you add in how beat up we are on offense, it's not the best recipe in the world, but I still have confidence that we're going to be able to be okay.
He talked a little bit about some of those guys that are coming up on their opportunity because they are redshirting, and we don't want to burn them on a red shirt just because. But do you think we see some more of those guys, especially on the line this week?
I was talking to a guy I work with, Mailman Todd, and he sent me a message about, getting in some of the younger guys with us. Or he talked about the value of the rest of our schedule not being all that tough and getting in a lot of guys. And I was like, yeah, bare minimum, I know it's 5 games, but some of these guys that haven't even gotten into one, you can piecemeal something together to get them those 4 games to preserve their red shirt.
Because they can basically play
4 games.
4 games, but they
And the bowl game does not count, by the way.
So how does it work? Like, how does that work as far as, like, let's say they came in for one play or one
That's one
series?
game.
It counts as a game, period?
Just like the Jeff Sims situation. He's played in 3 games.
That one play
Period.
counts as a game?
Yep.
Jesus. Okay.
It's not a percentage of games. It's not a percentage of snaps, anything else like that. If you
Makes
go
sense.
into the game, you played that game.
Makes sense.
So, it's funny. Would any of us at the beginning of the year, well, okay, I'll say it for myself because I know you're usually overconfident, and hell, Matt said 11-1, and if you would have told me at the beginning of the year that, let's just say we win this game against Purdue, going into November, we have a legitimate shot at winning the Big Ten West, I'd say, get the fuck out of here. Shut the fuck up. You're dumb. Go away. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I'd literally just shut down the conversation and I would just go on about my life.
I'd call you a hater or something.
Of
like
course.
That. Yeah.
And
We'd laugh and move on.
absolutely. But it's true. Now, in the moment, it's true. If we had these injuries that we have right now, after, say, week 2, we'd be like, we don't have a fucking prayer of even making 6 games. I'm not even talking about winning the West, just to get to 6 games. If all these injuries happen in week 2, we'd be like, there's no chance in hell we get to a bowl game.
See, I don't know if that's true, though. Because you look
I'm saying that's what we'd be saying because it's so early in the season.
Okay, I got you.
That's what I'm saying.
What
Now the injuries happen. We're not at 6 games yet, but it's still a possibility.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, granted, majority of that is because of how bad the schedule is, but still, it's a possibility.
Well, the other side of it is I realize we're losing a bunch of guys. We've lost a bunch of guys. There's something to be said about the way that the freshmen that have played so far are playing. And there's nothing saying that the guys that are sitting back there right now won't play the same way. Because there's been guys, just like what you talked about last week, or on the recap with, you said if Piper's down for long term, he's not great. He can be replaced, and what's his name?
Justin Evans Jenkins.
Justin Evans Jenkins coming in for
He's
him.
a good player.
Is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember if he's redshirt freshman or true freshman.
Redshirt freshman. So
we're looking at him being able to step in and potentially play, where I think there was a lot of, at Temple and at Baylor, Rule was, he even made mention of it in his press conference, I didn't have buy-in there from the older guys. Mm-hmm. They weren't playing the way that I wanted them to play. They weren't doing things the way that I wanted them to do.
Was forced to play
and so
guys.
I was forced to play the younger guys. It wasn't that I came in and just said, well, F you guys, I'm bringing my guys.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do that. And when he came in here and he got the buy-in, he got the belief and the heart and the push and the I'm going to do it your way, coach, from these older guys, he had to play him. He felt like he had to play him, and it also gave an opportunity for some of those guys to sit back and get some practices in and reps under their belt to try and have the game come to them. And he referenced Malachi Coleman and how this is kind of his touchdown catch. I love how he got one catch in the game, and they're like, "See, this game is just a sign of his progress and him coming along." It's like, well, he's kind of forced into the situation, and to my knowledge, this is the first time you've ran this play for him. So,
well, and other people, I heard comments, fans and stuff. They're like, "Oh, we saw in the Northwestern game how well Malachi Coleman can be." It's like it was one play, and it's great. We're not taking anything away from that.
He's
one play.
fast as shit, and I hope they call more plays for him like that.
But it was one play. Let's back it down, just a touch. Doesn't make
all
him
the
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Of all the balls that Harburg has thrown that distance in this season, that's maybe one of 2 that have gotten to within 10 yards of where they need to be.
Yeah.
But onto their offense. Is there anything on their offensive side that's like super exciting? Their quarterback situation's kind of meh, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean Hudson Card is good, but it's like the big thing is they have nobody behind him.
Is he more traditional or is he dual threat guy?
I wouldn't say he's a threat to run. He can run. I wouldn't say that it's something that they want him to do very often. And I'm looking at the wrong team here. I was just getting ready to look at his... My bad. For some reason,
he's thrown the ball a shit ton more this year than what we've seen.
He's got 26 yards rushing. Now, granted, a lot of that can be
scrambles and whatever.
Well, sacks, taking yards off and all that stuff. So, whatever. But he's much more of a passer than he is a runner. So, yeah, he's thrown the ball around a lot, but he's a 60% passer. He's just kind of, I think you said it. He's meh. He's not the worst thing in the world, but he's not great either.
His QBR average on the season is 49. So
he's battled a handful. He's battled a handful of injuries the last couple of weeks. He's probably going to be. He's probably going to be the most healthy he's been since the begining of the year.
But they've already said he is going to play in this game.
Oh
right?
gosh, yeah.
Okay,
yeah. That's not
because I know that last week prior to last weekend they were talking. Purdue might not even have their starting quarterback when they play us.
Yeah. They are going to get it sounds like nothing has been confirmed yet. It sounds like they're going to get their backup running back who does play, Tyrone Tracy. He'll be back from a groin injury, more than likely. They have the Devin Maccabee running back who ran for like 170-something yards against us last year. So, he was that walk-on story that literally, I think it was like the first thing Ryan Walters did when he got hired is he gave him a scholarship.
Oh, that's the kid. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm putting a face to the story.
Yeah. But they also have a lot of injuries on their offensive line. They had 3 big offensive line injuries. One of them's out for the year. 2 of them might be available for this game, but they're day-to-day. So even if they do come back, they might be a little sketchy as far as whether it's a little bit of rust or also still kind of injured. Who knows? That's going to be big going up against our defensive line.
Yeah.
So
if they play like they did last week, man.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing is our defensive line stayed fully healthy last week.
And
added a piece.
And the offensive philosophy, Purdue is literally almost exactly 50-50 run pass so far on the season. It's within like 5 or 6 plays that their run pass ratio is. So they're going to do both. They don't necessarily do both or either one, great. But again,
this Maccabee is averaging damn near 5 yards a carry, 4.6 a carry. I'd love to see us ding that number this week.
He struggled at the beginning of the year, but he's gotten a lot better. I'd messaged. There's a guy that I met through the radio shows who lives down in Lincoln. He's a Purdue grad. Everybody knows him as Greg in Lincoln. And about a week and a half ago, I sent him a message on Twitter saying, "Hey, can you give me every single year when we play Purdue, I always send him a message, hey, can you give me some insight?" And whatever. He goes, the first thing that he said was, they're just like every other Big Ten West team. And then he started going into all these things. And I was like, yeah, that is literally every single Big Ten West team.
Yeah.
They do a couple of things good. They do a couple of things terrible. The things that they do in the middle, they literally do in the middle. And we'll just kind of see what happens.
Yeah.
So it's almost like what I said last week when we did the second half preview, and I was just like, and you were asking, game by game, which ones do we lose, which ones do we win? I'm like, depends on which team shows up. And that's not just with Nebraska, it's with our opponents. Depends on which Purdue team shows up.
Yeah.
And week to week, we don't know which Nebraska team's going to show up, and the Purdue fans don't know which Purdue team is going to show up. So, I don't know. It's...
Well, the one thing that
makes
mentioned...
That makes for terrible, podcast, getting information, but it's true. It's just...
You're absolutely right. You look at what this Maccabee's done as far as running the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I think it's going to get interesting for us because, like you said, he wasn't that good coming on in the beginning of the year.
No.
Looks like he dealt with an injury at some point in the Wisconsin game because he only had 4 carries for 26 yards in that game.
Mm-hmm.
But against Illinois, he ran at 14 for 67. Against Iowa, he got 20 carries for 89 yards. He still averaged 4.5.
Yeah, against that Iowa defense.
And it wasn't like he was on a long run because he only had his longest was 10.
Yeah.
But then against Ohio State, who we just saw them absolutely defensively dominate Penn State, a better running team.
Yep.
He got 110 yards for 18 carries, 6.1 average with a long of 21.
Yeah.
So he's a pretty good running back, it looks like. he's going to be difficult for us to stop.
He is.
That seems like that's probably where they're going to go on offense.
Yeah.
He's
their weapon on offense. I mean, I'd love to say that one of their receivers is a huge weapon, but I'd only like to say that because we share the same last name.
Burks.
But I mean, he's not terrible. He's their leading receiver. He's not terrible, but he's not like anything.
In comparison to our leading receiver, Billy Kemp, who has 21 receptions for 216 yards and is no longer available.
Yeah.
He has 1 touchdown. Burks has 27 receptions, so only 5 more receptions, but for 418 yards, 202 more yards, and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
No, 5 touchdowns.
4 more touchdowns.
Yeah, 4 more touchdowns.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'd say there's a significant difference in the two receiving cores, at least as far as what we've seen so far.
Yeah, but I mean, he's still only averaging 59 yards a game receiving. Sure. So it's not like, it's the most dynamic thing. I mean, what they've been used to with guys like David Bell and stuff like that, who were getting, over 100 yards a game easily without even thinking about it. It's not what they're used to, but they also don't necessarily have the quarterback system and the offense that they are used to as either. So,
yeah.
Again, they run a 50-50 offense right now. I don't know for sure if this is the offense that they really want to run, kind of like the Nebraska situation where we don't believe that the offense that we're seeing today is actually the offense that Satterfield and Rule truly want to run long term. I don't know what Purdue's situation is right now as far as their offense, again, building.
Yeah.
But right now...
Where'd their coordinator come from, their offensive coordinator?
I didn't look at that one. Sorry, I don't know.
You're good.
No. Remember, he's Graham Harrell. He's
yeah.
Mike Leach guy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It
just came to me.
The one thing that we haven't mentioned that I think is worth mentioning at least, this is their coming off a bye.
Mm-hmm.
They got absolutely drubbed by Ohio State 41-7, and then they had a week off.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you think, we talked a little bit about how it's been so long since Nebraska entered a bye on a win, on a high note, and then we won following it up. How much do you think it will affect them that they got absolutely beat down prior to this bye?
I think it would have affected them more if we would have been playing them a week later, and not just getting beat down in the scoreboard. You play a team like Ohio State and just get
beat down on the field,
physically beat down. You have to go back and the next week. People talk about it all the time. Hell, we talked about it with the Michigan game and then going into the Illinois game. Is Michigan going to beat us twice, especially on a short week with playing Illinois? Everybody's always worried about that with the big boy programs where you say, don't let this team beat you twice. I'd be more comfortable if we had played them the week after they played Ohio State and got their ass kicked. Having that week off, you can not only get physically healed, but mentally you can heal and you can just move on. Hell, Nebraska almost kind of did that when they got their ass kicked by Michigan, and they're just like, I don't want to say that the team was thinking, well, the whole season that, we're just going to lose that Michigan game anyway, so who cares what the outcome is? I don't want to say that about competitors in general because I also don't.
Even though we already kind of did. At least I did.
But I just don't want to believe that. So whether it's true or not.
Pipe dream or no pipe dream?
Yeah, exactly. You can also sit there and be like, I'm not going to let this loss beat me up because, you know what? It's fucking Michigan. It's Ohio State. They're two of the best teams in the country. Let's just move forward. Technically speaking, I mean, they would like to make a bowl game too. They still have Michigan coming up later on the season. Purdue does. And if they win 4 of their 5, so obviously excluding Michigan, then they can make a bowl game at 6-6. So they still have something to play for as well.
Yeah.
And it's, no disrespect to Nebraska. It's not like the rest of their schedule is really all that tough outside of Michigan either.
No. Michigan, and then they've got Minnesota, Northwestern, and Indiana.
Exactly. So,
and 2 of those are at home.
If I'm a Purdue fan, again, no disrespect to Nebraska, but I'm looking at Nebraska not being that great of a team either. I'm looking at that going, we have a shot at making a bowl game.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's likely.
No.
But we have a shot at making a bowl game.
Do you think this kind of feels like a back-to-back Northwestern week to me? Purdue kind of feels like Northwestern this year.
I think they're better than Northwestern, but
Think so?
I do. I do. I mean,
What makes you think that? Their record doesn't show it.
talent. Well, but who are they playing? I mean, I think they are better. I don't know. I mean, well, I guess we'll find out when they play each other in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But again,
3 weeks. Yeah.
again with the Big Ten West, do we really know
Yeah, who the fuck knows?
who's better than the other
That
teams?
graphic that you sent earlier that was like
Yeah.
the 7-way tie possibilities for all these different teams. And that's actually how we came to the no pipe thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. What I've seen on the field, I'm not that impressed with them. I think if our defense plays the way that they played against Northwestern, plays the way that they did against Illinois, we should have no problem putting these guys away.
I mean, I'm not going to try to portray the Northwestern game as closer than what it was, but first of all, it was a one-score. It ended up being a one-score game.
Yeah.
It's not like defensively we dominated them, but
we also did everything we could offensively to give them a 30-point lead in the first quarter.
We did that against Illinois too, at the end of the game at least.
And so
Illinois, right?
and so that's kind of that's what made me feel like both of those games. I felt like the Northwestern game, even more than the Illinois game, were more dominant than what the score indicated.
Mm-hmm.
Just simply from the fact that, dude, we were literally like, please take this W. Take it. Boop. Out Billy Kemp's arms. Take it. Please, everything. Let me throw a pick the first play of the game. And we still seemingly dominated them.
Like on defense, we had roughly 3 touchdown saving tackles. Even after those touchdown saving tackles or the turnovers, we were forcing field goals. In the past, we would allow every single one of those to be touchdowns.
Absolutely. We also had 2 sacks in that game that took them out of field goal range.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So it's like
caused a penalty.
It's like I know that we can watch that Northwestern game and look at our defense and say that was a dominating win.
It was dominant on one side of the ball.
Exactly.
It was dominant on one side of the ball.
And even that had moments, though. Like I said, if we didn't have those touchdown-saving tackles, if we didn't basically get those 2 sacks to make them out of field goal range, just to put pressure on our offense to score, again, it was still only a one-score game. So it's not like we just blew those guys out either.
You're absolutely right. And I'm not even saying that we're going to blow them out. It just feels like it's another one of those games that unless we really, really trip and fall hard over our own dicks, we should come out on top of this one.
But can you have confidence that we're not going to?
I'm starting to have some more confidence, yeah.
What has given you more confidence?
That we're winning the games that we're still tripping all over our own dicks.
But what has given...
Back-to-back games of Illinois and Northwestern of us doing everything boneheaded that we've been doing for the last 5 years, but it coming out on the right side of things because of execution at the end of a game.
So my question, I guess, should be phrased differently. What gives you confidence that we're not going to come out and step on our own dicks?
Because I've said we've been doing that. The difference is we've been also finding a way to win.
Yeah, I'm not asking you...
We're making it ugly.
...about confident on winning, but we're still going to come out and step on our own dicks. That's what we do.
I'm confident that that's going to happen.
That we're still going to step on our own dicks? Okay,
but it doesn't mean
we
still can't also dominate this team.
I don't... I think as you step...
You can tumble over your own penis at the same time that you drub someone else. You can do that. We're that talented this year. We did it against Illinois. We did it against Northwestern.
Yeah, but we didn't kick their ass. I mean, it's...
On defense, we did.
Yeah. But on offense, we didn't.
It's a half an ass kicking, man.
That's part of stepping on your dick. I mean, it's
half an ass kicking. Our offense was over there dick stomping, and our defense was ass kicking. So, do you have any unique facts or exciting tidbits of information for us?
So I kind of really only have like a semi-trivia question for you.
Are there any mob members that are associated with these games?
So I was a little disappointed because the one thing that I was going to come at you with, the fun fact, was that I read, and then I looked farther into this person, and I found out that it's not actually, not a fact. It's an alternate fact, I guess. That's kind of what people say nowadays. So it's not true. So I can't really give you the fun fact.
Oh, got it. You're making up your own truth. I got it.
Well, not mine, but what I had read was that there was a philosophy professor at Purdue a long time ago, Theodore Kermit Scott. He was childhood friends with Jim Henson, the guy who created the Muppets.
Yeah.
And
That's where the Kermit name came
that's
from?
what they say, is that he was named
Can you talk
after...
like this?
I don't know. But then, like I said, I looked into this Theodore Kermit Scott guy, and
Wasn't true.
It said that the reports of that are untrue.
That's funny.
So I guess this is kind of a trivia question. It has to do with Purdue. There are only 2 college teams that have 3 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. Obviously, one of them's Purdue. Can you either name the other school or can you name the 3 Purdue quarterbacks that won Super Bowls? One of them's pretty easy.
Well, yeah, Drew Brees.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask you if you thought we'd see Drew Brees in Lincoln this weekend.
Probably not.
Shit. I know, is it Notre Dame?
No.
Who is it?
Alabama. It's kind of weird that Purdue is in the same company as Alabama.
At least they can claim it for something. Who are the other 2 quarterbacks for Purdue?
Len Dawson and Bob Greasy.
Okay.
So old.
I forgot Greasy went there.
Yeah.
Who are the 3 quarterbacks that have won it for Alabama?
Joe Namath. You want to talk about old?
Yeah.
Joe Namath, Bart Starr, and Ken Stabler.
Okay. I was going to say, I can't remember a recent Alabama quarterback that's won it.
Stabler's the most recent.
No
That's
shit.
not recent.
And he's been on TV long enough that he's off TV.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, that's the only thing I really kind of have as a fun thing. Whatever. It was just only 2 colleges have 3 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks.
Is there anybody playing this week that is exciting to you to see for the first time?
Hell, this isn't really going to be the first time this year. You mean the first time this year or first time?
Yeah, first time in this offense and this year or this defense if it's somebody new playing, but
I'm going to do a little bit of a cop-out.
Sounds like we might get Newsome back this year. Be fun to see him in this defense. Or this week, I mean.
No, Buford, you mean.
Buford, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say Newsome's been playing. Yeah, Buford would be one. But I'm going to do a little bit of a cop-out, and this guy has played this year, but it's been like one game, and it's been just a few plays. I want to see him in a full game, and that's Teddy Prohaska.
You stole mine. Bastard. You fucking stole mine.
I need to see him, like...
Step up, dude.
Yeah.
We're being a kid. Step up. It's time to go.
I don't know what the situation is. I don't want to speculate on what the situation is. I have zero idea. Whether it's injury, whether it's mental, I don't know.
He's been getting a lot of playing time the last few games.
No, I wouldn't say a lot. I don't think he played last game.
Yeah, he did. He rotated in. He came in and finished the game for Corcoran.
I thought the injury at Corcoran was like at the end of the game. I didn't remember when that injury happened with Corcoran, so
I'd have to double check.
Yeah.
But
still, we haven't seen him play significant time. I guess that's the whole point with Prohaska.
Yeah.
He hasn't played significant time. So that's my guy because, I mean, we talked about with the talent-wise and stuff like that. We need the guys that are came here as highly touted to live up to what they were expected.
Yeah.
And that's from top to bottom. Malachi Coleman needs to step up more, obviously without Billy Kemp. The other freshman wide receiver, Dawson Lloyd, need to step up. All of these guys, the more these guys go down, hell, Latovsky has to step up. We haven't been all that impressed with him, but he's going to be the starter at right guard. So, he's got to step up. And then as we continue...
Did they say yet whether or not Newelli was going to be out for...
They said 2 weeks.
They said 2 weeks now? Okay.
Now, granted, that, you could have a setback, whatever else like that, but they said 2 weeks. They said he'll be back in 2 weeks. Now, does that mean he'll be back for the Maryland game? Or even, the Michigan State game? Is he going to miss 2 games or 2 weeks? I don't know. So it sounds like he'll be back. It didn't seem like they were not confident not to get him back at all at any point, but we need these guys to step up.
Yeah.
And even the guys that were probably only going to be playing for 4 games to have the red shirt, the guys like a Sam Sledge or the kid from Plattsmouth, the Knack, or Knutson. offensive linemen. Those guys are probably going to get some time. And
Who's that kid out of South Dakota, too?
I don't remember.
He's a beast. I can't remember for sure, but that's what I'm wondering is how much we're going to see some of those guys that are true freshmen that are going to be limited to 4 games through our last 5 here. But which 4 games are they going to get in on? Mm-hmm. Is it going to be a save 1 or 2 of them back and let them start next week, or are we going to dump them in there this week in hopes that thinking Llewellyn's going to come back in 2 weeks? What else could we potentially get back? What are we going to see from Prohaska?
Well, and that's what I was saying to my coworker about, because he was asking, what with the lack of strength of schedule for the rest of the season. And one of the things I responded to him was, we can piece together these true freshmen playing in only 4 games, because it's not like we have a Michigan and Ohio State game in these last 5. We have an easier schedule where it's much more comfortable to piece together these true freshmen in without a whole lot of pressure. And again, going to our 4 games and we only need 2 of the next 5 to get to a bowl game. It's not like we have a bunch of pressure to, oh my God, or like at the Purdue situation. They have to win 4 of their last 5 to make a bowl game. We don't have that pressure. So being able to piece together the 4 games for these true freshmen is going to be a big luxury for us.
Yeah. It's nice that we actually have the ability to do that too.
It feels kind of weird that we have that ability. It feels good, but it feels weird.
I think in prior years, having freshmen come in and fill those gaps would have scared me. But like we just posted on our Facebook page the other day, even on X, that picture that was of was it 9 or 11? I think it was 9.
Yeah.
9 true freshmen that got in the game against Northwestern, and a lot of them had real impact.
Mm-hmm.
What's to say that that's only going to happen on the defensive side of the ball? Nothing. These guys are clearly evaluating talent appropriately, at least for the most part. Maybe not at the quarterback position. We've already had that conversation.
Yeah.
But everywhere else, it seems like, especially on the defensive side of the ball, the talent evaluation's there and the growth is there enough, at least, that these kids can come in and be impactful.
Well, I mean, we talked about it at the quarterback position as far as whether talent evaluation, yes or no. We don't have any options there. We clearly have options at the other positions.
Yes.
So that's the bonus.
Yeah. Yep, I'm excited to see that. Are you ready to jump into the questions?
I'm ready when you are.
Awesome, man. Fire it off. Question 1.
Emmett Johnson rushing yards.
Oof.
74.5.
Oh.
Purdue is 11th in the Big Ten, allowing 153 yards per game. They have allowed a running back to rush for over 75 yards in 6 of the 7 games. Now, they've allowed 7 people to rush for over 75 yards, but one of them was the quarterback for Syracuse who rushed for like 190-something yards.
That was the first thing I was going to start with on my answer.
Yeah. And Nebraska has only had 1 running back this season go over 75 yards, and that was Grant.
Yeah.
He went over 100. So Emmett Johnson rushing yards at 74.5. Is he going to get to 75? He was 2 yards short last week.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to go under on this, just simply from the standpoint of I think that Anthony Grant will still continue to get carries. Mm-hmm. As long as he didn't have a bad week at practice this week, he should see the field more in this game. I also think Harburg, they're going to go back to more of what they were doing prior to the Northwestern game, and Harburg is going to look more confident running the ball. Because we talked about that. He had a couple of those, 3rd and long situations where he was put in a QB draw situation where the pocket collapsed just enough that he froze, and he looked like, I don't want to make the wrong choice. I don't want to fumble. I don't want to whatever. That's not what he looked like prior, and I think that in order for him to keep the starting job and keep pushing himself, he's going to have to play like he did prior to the Northwestern game.
Just before I give my answer, Matt sent me in all of his answers. He said he's taking the under. Emmett Johnson will continue to take more snaps and is getting better every game, but we will see a healthy amount of Grant, and Purdue is going to be expecting the run.
I think that's going to be the case the rest of the way out.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to key on the run for us.
I'm taking the under as well, mainly because I want to make sure that our offensive line is getting pieced together correctly, functionally. The weather in the game is going to be super cold. I think they're going to have to rotate in more running backs because of that, to just try to, get people out there. So
it's going to be chilly. It's not going to be like frozen. 42 degrees and it's super cold.
I heard chances of snow, so I don't know.
What?
I heard somebody say today that the weather report went down to like 39 for the game. So,
well, the difference between 42 and 39 is not tremendous.
Well, it's still colder.
It is colder.
And they haven't played in that yet this year, so it's not like they're used.
And they can't practice in it this week because it's fucking 80 degrees outside.
So I'm going with the under. Also, it's a little bit of a prove it. It's like, cool, Emmett Johnson, you had a great game last week. I appreciate that. I think you are getting better. Do it again.
Do it again.
Yeah. And hell, even last week he didn't get over 75. So just do you again, I guess I'll phrase it that way. Question 2. Length of the longest touchdown run for Nebraska in yards. 14.5 yards.
I'm going over. Harburg's going to burst a big one.
We've had 11 rushing touchdowns this season. 8 of them have been 25 yards or under. 6 of those 8 have been 11 yards or shorter.
You said it at 14.5?
14.5.
Yeah, I'm going over.
Okay.
I think we have at least one of those explosive plays a game, it seems like. Last game it happened
but
to
not necessarily
be a pass.
running the ball.
No, I know.
That's what I'm saying.
Last game it happened to be a pass, but that was a one-off.
Yeah.
Because the rest of them, every other explosive play we've had has been running the ball, or at least we've had one in each game.
Mm-hmm. Matt took the under on 14.5. He said, we will see lots of running, but they will expect it to. Gonna be a slow and steady push. I'm just going to go off of the averages. Like I said, 6 of the 8 rushing touchdowns that have been under 25 yards have also been under 11 yards. So I'm just going to go use the numbers, and I'm going to go with the under on 14.5.
Cool.
Number 3, Nebraska tackles for loss, 7.5.
Oof.
Purdue has allowed the 12th most tackles for loss in the Big Ten at 50. Purdue has allowed 8 tackles for loss per game in Big Ten play. Nebraska has the 3rd most tackles for loss in the Big Ten at 45. And they are averaging 6 per game in Big Ten play, Nebraska is. So I got the number at 7.5. I know we had 13 last week, which was great.
I'm going to go with the under simply because I feel like this is one of those games. Here's the real reason. Because I got fucking embarrassed by that Mike Leach bullshit. And we're saying that their offensive coordinator is a Mike Leach prodigy guy, which the last Mike Leach prodigy offense that we played was able to dink and dunk us everywhere, and it kept us from getting to the quarterback. They got rid of the ball really quickly. I feel like they do that some already, so we're going to see them getting that ball out as fast as they can, especially after they have tape on Northwestern getting tossed around like rag dolls last week.
Yep.
I think we get to probably 5 or 6. I don't think we get past 7.
Okay. I'm going to go with the under as well. I kind of just going with the averages. Like, we had, 6 against Illinois, and Illinois' offensive line was fucking atrocious. So
but they were doing a good job of getting the ball out fast.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with the under on that. Matt is taking the over because our defense is still on a high, but I think the number is 8, so he's not going much over, but he's going to go with the over as well.
Over's over. I don't care if it's 400.
Yep. Which would be super fucking cool if we got 400 tackles for loss.
No, it wouldn't. 'Cause why are they running 400 plays in a fucking game?
Well, they wouldn't be.
What is our offense doing?
Well, they wouldn't be running 400 plays if they have 400 tackles for loss.
Yeah. 3 and out. Interception. 3 and out. Interception. 3 and out. Interception. How they had 12 possessions in the first quarter?
Well, if we just kept throwing interceptions, we know damn well it'd still be Harburg. Speaking of throwing the ball, question 4.
Oh, here we go.
Thomas
Fidoni
targets, not catches, targets.
What's he averaging?
He is averaging. Well, he's had 12 targets in the last 2 games. I think it said he's averaging be 4 to 5 ish, but lately he's gotten much more. As far as on the season, his average is lower than what it's been, mainly because it seems like every week he's losing another wide receiver that we like to throw to. So his targets are going up. We lost another wide receiver that we seemingly like to throw to with Billy Kemp again. So I figure he had 7 targets last week.
Is it he likes to throw to them, though? Because
Harbert
that's my
does.
thing. Does he like to throw to them, or are those plays called and given to him?
True.
That's my thing about.
But the offense has to
Harburg.
adjust with not having these guys.
Yeah.
But clearly also Harburg has been liking to throw to Thomas Fidone for whatever reason.
Yeah.
He had 7 targets last week. I'm going to put the number at 6.5 targets for this game against Purdue. He's averaged 6 targets per game in the last 2 games.
Them being 5 or 6 years playing together and him being basically the only comfort zone left for Harburg, I'm going to go over with that just simply out of that fact. And they know that. I feel like the offense knows that they have to get Fidone involved just because of his size and athleticism. And if we're going to move the ball in the air at all, which seemingly because of the way that they're keying in so hard on our offense or on our run game, we're going to have to get some of those shorter passes to come in. Mm-hmm. He's our guy for that. And seeing him and that Jaden Doss get across the middle a little bit more, that's going to be a major key to this game, I think, in us moving the ball steady.
Yeah. Matt is taking the under. He says, dude couldn't catch the fucking ball last game. Young guys starting to take those attempts away. I'm going with the under. There's a part of me that says that you should take the over just because
Kemp went out.
Kemp went going out, but I'm taking the under because I don't know that we're going to throw the ball enough. It's just math. Like last week we threw the ball 17 times. I'd be shocked if we throw the ball more than that. We might throw the ball less than that. And I guess maybe part of this is hopeful, that I'm hoping that they make more of an effort to get the freshman wide receivers involved in the offense, so you throw the ball to them a little bit more. And then just by math, you're just not going to have enough passes to go to Fidone. They're still going to throw the ball a lot to him. Hell, this number could be 6. But I'm not going to go over 6.5.
Well, how many pass attempts do you think we have in this game?
Like I said,
it's ramped up the last 3 games in a row.
We only had 17 last week. That's not ramping
but prior
up.
to that, we only had like 14 in Illinois, didn't we?
I don't have that number on me.
Regardless, I feel like we're passing the ball a little bit more. They're trying to put it in his hands to throw the ball a little bit more. So, no, I take it back. It was 24.
Yeah,
I think they're trying to prove a point with him. I think that's all part of this, and it's been that way all season long.
in my opinion, they're proving something with him, but not the point that they want to prove.
We're not going down that negative
I know. I just
keep getting blasted for it.
I don't care.
Yeah,
that's why I don't read the comments. You do.
Gotta engage.
Nope, not with those people. Question 5. Fumbles by Nebraska. This is not fumbles lost. This is just straight up fumbles. Nebraska is the worst in the country per game, with 2.7 fumbles per game.
4 last week didn't help.
Exactly. They are averaging 3 fumbles per game in the last 3 games. So the number is 2.5. I think that laugh says a lot. That says you want to take the over, but you don't want to be so negative.
Here's the thing for me. I actually like this question better than the total net turnovers question.
Like the turnover margin.
Yeah, because then I have to rely on how many times are they going to fuck it up too.
Yeah.
So this feels easier, and every time I go hopeful, I feel like I lose, but I have to stay hopeful on this one. I'm taking the under. You said it at 2.5, right?
2.5.
I'm taking the under.
I think 3.5 is too easy to say under.
I think it'll probably still be 2.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like Harburg has to. That has to have been the primary thing they were talking to him about all week long was He was careless with the ball last week. And that has to be something that they were just drilling into him all week long. Dude, you have to hold on to the ball. More than anything else, we're pulling Anthony Grant. He's got his running mate right there that has been pulled out of the game and essentially set on the bench for exactly that. You have to be more careful with the ball. You've got to be paying more attention when you're throwing it, but especially when you're holding on to it. And for the love of God, you can't let a snap hit you in the hands because you're already looking up.
Yep.
Pay attention. Slow down. Do the things, the fundamental things that got you the starting job in the first place. Just like I said about the running. He has to have more confidence in the fundamentals and simplified things. If they start getting too complex with him, that's when I think we're going to see the train run off the tracks.
Yep. So you're going with the under. Matt's going with the over, and he simply said 2 words: prove it. So I
get that.
I can't disagree.
I think the wild card here is Anthony Grant.
Yeah.
The wild card here is Anthony Grant because if he gets a lot more play this week,
Yeah, but again,
he's only going to get a cop 1 up, and they're going to pull him.
I understand that, but I don't want to just put it on these 2 guys because, like I said last week to you, it's contagious on this team.
It is.
It's everybody. Everybody needs more focus on holding onto the ball.
But you saw Emmett every single time he was getting touched. He had 2 hands wrapping that thing like it was everything in the world. And the first, we talked about it on the recap. The first run that Anthony Grant came out and had, he was running angry. He was running hard. He got 12 yards and a first down on first down. But he also had the ball up here, and he was swinging it around like a crazy man. Would have been easy to rip that out. And that's just a thing that he has to get rid of.
Everything in me tells me to go with Matt and say prove it, but I'm going with the under. I'm not really sure why.
3 fumbles a game is a hard thing to live up to. Like, that's a lot of fumbles.
Yeah, but it's what they are averaging the last 3 games. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's a hard average to keep up.
I know. And, also, hell, I answered one of these other questions based on the weather that we're going to have. I probably should take the over based on the weather, but I don't know. Something about it, I'm just taking the under. Question 6. Field goals made by both teams combined. Nebraska, as we know, is not very good. It's gotten better, but still, as a whole for the season, we are 4.
Attempts have been limited.
Yes. We're 4 of 8 on the season so far. I put this question in there because Purdue is 3 of 9.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
At least we're not that.
Exactly. So, field goals made by both teams in this game, I put it at 2.5. Seems like it should be an easy over, but both teams aren't very good at kicking field goals. And again, the weather could play a factor in this. So
yeah. I'm going to take the under on that.
Okay.
Simply because I think the weather is going to play the main factor. I just pulled up the actual weather for the afternoon, specifically on Saturday. It's looking like a mid-afternoon high of 40, cloudy and cold with brief showers.
Yeah.
So we should be seeing some wind gusts. We should be seeing some slippery turf setting. I think ground and pound, slow and steady, kind of like what Matt said about that other one that kind of makes me want to change my answer on it now. Yeah, I'm just going under because I don't think we're going to take those chances.
Yeah. I'm going with the under just because of the weather, period. And also, I one of the other Purdue podcasts that I listened to today, they were talking about how, with how bad their field goal kicking is right now, they might just go for 4th.
Yeah, they just won't
go for it on 4th down a lot, depending on the situation that they are on the field. So I'm going to go with the under on that. Matt is taking the over, but mainly because he thinks the game could be 6-3. So that's 3 field goals.
Wow. Why not 6-9, Matthew? Make it super sweet, super nice.
Question 7. Who will score 21 points or more? One team, both teams, or neither team?
One team.
I'm not asking you who you think.
No, that's fine.
I mean, I know.
I
know who you think.
You like your little triplicate of choices. This
isn't a push.
One team. No,
this is.
It's fine. It's one team.
Okay. Matt is saying neither, mainly because you take the under every week.
6.
Well, no, he's just take the under on whatever points. Take the under.
Well, I mean, even if we score 21
points or more. So
yeah,
21.
Well, yeah. If we score, are you setting it 21.5 or 21 flat?
Who will score more 21 points or more?
Okay, yeah.
One
20
team,
and a half essentially.
One team, both teams,
Yeah.
or neither team.
Nope. I would go one team, because even if you just look at the over under on this, which is 39.5, if Nebraska scores 21 and we win by the spread is 2.5, you're still hitting the under on the 39.5.
I struggle between one and neither. I'm definitely not taking both. I mean, that'd be silly to take both. Purdue does average 23 points per game, but they haven't played this defense yet. Yes, they played Ohio State, and they scored 7 points.
They scored 7 points. They scored 14 points against Illinois.
Yeah.
They only scored 17 points against Wisconsin. Really the outlier in their scoring, because they've only hit the 20 mark twice. That was 20 on the dot against Syracuse, which they lost. And then they scored 44 against Illinois. So really, they don't score 23 points a game.
No, it's highly skewed.
It's an outlier. They score closer to that 17 mark. I think that's an easy one to run off.
But then Nebraska only averages 18.7 per game. So we literally don't even get to that 21 number. I'm going to go with the neither.
The neither.
Because
I will take the neither.
I've said, I don't even know, we struggle to score 20 points at any given moment.
Yeah.
So if it's going to be that much of a struggle to even score 20 against teams that we should be scoring more on, what makes
Who's a moron?
More.
Gotcha.
What makes me think that we can do that against Purdue or really anybody? So I'm going with the neither, even though I hope it's one in that.
The other thing that just dawned on me too, he had an amazing game plan for Nebraska last year. It's not to say that defensively,
coach.
It's not the same.
Oh, you mean
no?
Ryan
I'm talking Illinois.
I apologize.
I'm not saying he has the same.
My brain
defense.
is still on Purdue,
Yeah.
so
I'm not saying he has the same defense.
No,
but he also schemed really well for us last year.
and he's had a week to prepare for it.
Yeah, and God, it does seem like it's very much a defensive battle this week. I just don't know.
And also, not just in a general sense of Nebraska this year, we struggle to score 20 points. We are now going into this game with just, this week to prepare with 3 less offensive linemen that we've started most of the season.
Yeah. 1
less of our big-time running backs that we have been, so wanting to rely on all year. It's been a topic of conversation all week that if you take the starting 11 from the Minnesota game, we only have 3 guys now that have started every single game on the starting 11 on offense. Like, it's crazy. And we're still in a possibility to not just win the West, but go to a bowl game as well. That's nuts.
That is fucking nuts.
Like somebody said, if we go to a bowl game with the scenario that we've had this offense, Matt Rule should be hands down Big Ten Coach of the Year.
Go to a bowl game? Or go to the big...
If we have this scenario that we're having right now with, like I said, 8 of the 11 starters on offense, and you're still able to piece it together and go to a bowl game
for the first time since 2016.
in your first year, all that stuff. Yeah, Matt Rule is coach. He should be Coach of the Year. He won't be, but he should be.
On the Big Ten, the other one you have to look at is the Northwestern situation.
Yeah,
and how well they're playing.
Well, hell, if he can piece it together and get to a bowl game, he's the Coach of the Year.
Fuck, he brought them out of the fucking car wash.
Yeah.
Oh boy. What was that? Question 5?
That was it. That was question 7.
Question 7. Okay, Jesus, I was not keeping track of what question we were on.
We had a little bit of a hiccup.
We did have a hiccup. Sorry if we seemed disheveled. We had a dog decide to drag our soundboard off the fucking table. Thank you, Baxter. Nebraska, as far as spread goes in this, is only favored by 2.5. We talk a lot about how home field advantage typically gets you 3.
Mm-hmm.
So they think this is a damn near evenly matched game.
Yep.
All the FPIs have it within 5 to 10% one direction or the other. I've seen a couple favoring Purdue by 52, 53%. Nebraska, just using ESPN's analytics, is favoring it as a straight 52%. We already talked about the weather. The over-under is 39.5.
Under?
easy. You and Matt are taking the under. We already know that.
Yeah.
I think I very confidently say Nebraska wins this and covers the spread 2.5. I like that spread being where it is because something about this week to me feels like monkey off the back type of week. It feels like, I don't know why, I just have this weird Homer positivity going on in my brain about this.
No way.
It feels but I've tried to tame that a little bit this year.
I'm busting your balls.
No, I know. I've tried to tame that a little bit this year, though. Even though it hasn't helped my picks, but it just feels like one of those at some point the dam is going to break open, and this progress that we're seeing that's been super slow but steady is going to take a big step forward at some point. And this feels like it could be setting up for one of those moments, especially because Matt Rule loves to be dirty and play in the trenches and play those types of games. I'm excited about it. He had him out, doing sleds in the snow last spring because he wanted to prepare for cold, shitty games in Nebraska. I'm not saying that doing something 6 months ago prepared you for the cold, but it's not like they haven't thought about it, talked about it, done about it. So I feel like they're going to bust this one open. I see a score somewhere. I truly see a score somewhere in that 24 to 27-ish range for Nebraska and holding them to 6. Holding them to 6, maybe 9.
It's
8.
I'm still adjusting to hearing somebody say, this team's going to bust it open, and you only say 24, 27 points.
Yeah. I'm not talking about 45-point win here.
I understand
we're not running
why,
off with this one.
Because the thing is, that would be busting it out for us.
That sounds like a huge victory right there.
But it's just the ramp up of you going I think we're going to break this one out. I think the bubble is going to burst and blah, 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 all this stuff. You're thinking, maybe minimum 35 points as you're building this up.
It just feels to me like we could see some success come in some different positions where it's finally look, man, we're down. We're down and out on, especially the offensive side of the ball. We've lost so many people. Get out there, just have fun and play football. Mm-hmm. Hold on to the ball, but go play football and have fun. Stop being so worried about making the mistakes and doing all that stuff.
I was all prepared as you were ramping that up to I was like, he's going to say 30-something points. And I'm like, okay, you got to just be fuck off. Just immediately, but no.
I would deserve that if I said that.
I do think we cover the spread as well. I think we're going to win this game. It was also kind of funny on one of the Purdue podcasts that I listened to. They were like, "Oh yeah, Purdue should be favored in this game." They actually recorded this last week, so they didn't have the point spread or whatever.
Oh sure.
They made the comment. They said, Purdue should be favored 75% of the time against Nebraska this year.
Based on what?
That was kind of my point. I was just
what? Well, what? Obviously these guys haven't watched many of our games or any of the games
I don't care
because
about
they were
us.
talking about Harburg being a pocket passer.
What about Purdue has given you that confidence either?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say that you should be negative about your team or all that stuff, but be realistic. What about Purdue this year has given you any confidence at 75%? Hell, I just picked Nebraska to win this game. I sure as fuck am not at 75% because I don't fucking know. But
I feel like I have massive positivity and a breakout game coming for us, and I still wouldn't say it's 75% guarantee we're winning.
No.
There's no reason for that.
No. But yeah, the under on the total, Nebraska gets the point spread. I think it could be at 3 as far as, we kick one of those field goals and we win the game. I already picked it. I don't think either team's going to get to 21 points. I kind of think it's going to be very similar to the Nebraska-Northwestern game where it's going to be a 17-ish points to roughly 10. And it'll probably be a one-score game. And it might be a nail-biter because we don't hold on to the ball for various different reasons, whether it's fumbles or interceptions.
Hopefully it's interceptions if that's the case. That way I can win that one.
I don't want either one of them. But, yeah, and I just want to see the defense keep dominating because that's the one thing about this team that keeps making me happy.
Oh, yeah. No, it's been exciting. Did Matt give
He did not.
He didn't give a score prediction?
Nope. And honestly, I didn't even think about that. I should have texted
We know
him.
he'd be under.
Oh gosh,
We know he'd be under, but I also think he'd be over. He'd be on Nebraska for the spread.
Looking at his picks, I would say he's picking Nebraska, but I'd be willing to bet it's probably. Well, I mean,
He said 6-3.
6-3.
That's a 3 point. That's 3 points. It covers.
Yeah.
So we're going with it. Matt, you're locked in. I'm excited to watch this game this weekend.
I am too. I'm excited to see what we can piece together on that offensive line.
Let's go fuck them up.
And this may be the most unbelievable night in Cornhusker football history.